Ms. McBrain, are we really getting a Martian student at Galaxy High?
Thundering across the stars to save the universe from the monster minds.
Hey there, fellow cartoon lovers. Remember those golden Saturday mornings when the only thing on your to-do list was to pour a giant bowl of cereal?
It's time we had a little help from our friends.
Curl up on the couch and let the adventures unfold on your TV screen? The 80s, a magical time when animation wasn't just a pastime, it was an event. From neon colors to quirky characters, the cartoons of that era defined our childhoods and etched unforgettable memories in our hearts. Sure, Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones are still around, but what about those hidden gems we loved just as much? Well, today, we're opening up that nostalgic treasure chest and dusting off 10 forgotten cartoons from the 80s that, believe it or not, helped shape the wild imaginations of a generation. Number 10. Dungeons & Dragons, 1983 to 1985. Dungeons & Dragons, the show that threw us into a wild world where slaying dragons was just another day at the office. Based on the legendary tabletop game, this animated series whisked a group of kids from an amusement park ride straight into a realm of magic, monsters, and mayhem. Guided by the ever-mysterious Dungeon Master, who seemed to have an answer for everything, the gang had to face off against the menacing Venger while desperately searching for a way home. What really set this show apart from the typical Saturday morning fare was its mood. While other characters were all slapstick and giggles, Dungeons & Dragons leaned into darker themes: fear, loss, and the kind of heroism that made you feel like the stakes were as real as your mom's burnt toast. Though it only ran for 3 seasons, its devoted fan base knew it was something special. Sure, we never got that final showdown or a satisfying ending, but the adventures, battles, and all the nail-biting moments left an indelible mark on everyone who tuned in. Number 9. SilverHawks, 1986. If you were a Thundercats fan, chances are you soared right into the world of SilverHawks with open arms and metallic wings. Created by the same legendary team, SilverHawks blended science fiction with superhero action, giving us a team of heroes who were part human, part machine, and 100% awesome. Their mission? To protect the galaxy from the terrifying Monstar, who was about as subtle as his name suggests. But what really made this show memorable was its unique mashup of futuristic tech with a Wild West twist. Imagine space outlaws and intergalactic sheriffs duking it out among the stars, all while flying around in some of the coolest spacecraft you'd ever seen. Each Silverhawk had their own set of cybernetic enhancements, making them more than just your average heroes. They were next level cool. Sure, it may not have had the staying power of its feline cousin Thundercats, but for those of us who watched it, SilverHawks delivered a perfect mix of high-octane action and adventure. Number 8. Galaxy High School, 1986. Imagine being sent to high school in outer space. That's exactly what happens to 2 Earth teens, Doyle and Amy, in Galaxy High School, a show that took the classic high school drama and launched it into a galaxy far, far away. Doyle, the all-star jock back on Earth, suddenly finds himself the underdog among a sea of strange and quirky alien classmates, while Amy, the shy nerd, becomes the queen bee of the cosmos. It's a total role reversal with an extraterrestrial twist. This cartoon brilliantly mixed the typical growing pains of high school life, awkward crushes, embarrassing moments, and cafeteria nightmares, with a wacky, colorful backdrop of aliens and interstellar adventures. Think of it as Saved by the Bell meets Star Wars, but with way more tentacles and space goo. The humor was out of this world, and the alien characters were as weird as they were wonderful. Sadly, Galaxy High only lasted for 13 episodes, making it one of those blink and you miss it classics. But for those lucky enough to catch it, it was a delightful mix of teenage angst and intergalactic hijinks that left a lasting impression. Number 7. Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light, 1987. In a world where technology crumbled and magic reigned supreme, Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light, brought us a thrilling mix of futuristic collapse and ancient sorcery. Imagine knights not wielding swords and shields, but summoning the power of majestic totem animals. These heroes were like medieval superheroes, tapping into their animal spirits to unleash their incredible powers. Because who wouldn't want to channel a lion or a bear in battle? What made Visionaries truly special was how it seamlessly blended two genres, the remnants of a high-tech world and the rise of magical dominance. The result was a richly built universe where knights fought with mystical staffs, and every spell felt like an epic cinematic moment. The intricate world building, combined with deep characters and epic storytelling, gave the series a dark, yet enchanting atmosphere that felt ahead of its time. Though it only lasted 18 episodes, talk about a magic spell that ended too soon, Visionaries packed enough adventure and fantasy to make it unforgettable. It was the show that made you wonder, what if magic really could take over? Number 6. Bionic 6, 1987. What do you get when you mix a classic family sitcom with superhero-level action? Bionic 6. Of course, the Bennett family wasn't just your typical suburban crew. They were superpowered thanks to a radioactive explosion that turned them into the ultimate bionic team. From super strength to enhanced senses, every member of this tight-knit family had their own unique ability, making them the world's coolest crime-fighting unit. But what truly made Bionic 6 stand out wasn't just the flashy powers or epic battles. It was the heart of the show, the focus on family dynamics. The Bennetts weren't just saving the world. They were dealing with sibling rivalries, parental guidance, and the quirks that come with being a family. Whether it was teamwork or button heads, Bionic 6 gave us a superhero show grounded in relatable family drama. It made you feel like, underneath the Bionics, they were just like us. Only, with the ability to lift cars or run at lightning speed. Though it didn't hit the same iconic status as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it found a devoted fan base that loved watching a family not just survive, but thrive. With powers. For those who grew up with the Bennetts, the mix of action and heartfelt moments was exactly what kept them tuning in. Number 5. The Centurions, 1986 to 1987. Power Extreme! If that battle cry doesn't take you back to the golden age of cartoons, then nothing will. The Centurions brought tech dreams to life for kids in the 80s, with a trio of heroes who were essentially walking Swiss Army knives, but way cooler. Ace McCloud ruled the skies, Max Ray dominated the seas, and Jake Rockwell tore through the land, all while fusing with exoframes that could be decked out with futuristic high-powered gear. For gadget lovers, this show was like heaven. With just a shout, these guys could call down armor from a space station to face whatever threat came their way, turning them into walking war machines. Whether it was a jetpack for air battles or torpedo launchers for underwater missions, the Centurions gave kids a front row seat to a world where tech was everything. The show didn't just stop at cool designs and mind-blowing action sequences. Its animation was ahead of its time, with intricate battle scenes and futuristic worlds that left kids glued to the screen. Let's be honest, half the fun was imagining what new armor would drop next and how our heroes would adapt to the challenge. It may have only lasted 2 seasons, but the Centurions left an impact far bigger than its short run. With customizable heroes and tech-packed battles, it was the ultimate playground for young imaginations. Number 4. The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, 1986. Imagine a showdown between space outlaws and futuristic sheriffs, with a gritty, hard-hitting edge. And you've got the Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. This wasn't your typical Saturday morning cartoon. It took the Western genre, tossed it into the far reaches of space, and added a dash of noir for good measure. Lawmen in space? Sign us up. The Galaxy Rangers weren't just battling the usual alien baddies. They were facing tough choices, grappling with loyalty, sacrifice, and justice. This show didn't pull punches. It had depth, and its storytelling was as sharp as a blaster shot. Themes like betrayal, honor, and doing the right things weren't just hinted at. They were front and center, making it one of the more mature cartoons of the decade. Think Star Wars meets Sergio Leone, with just a touch of Blade Runner thrown in for good measure. While it may not have racked up the same commercial success as the other cartoons at the time, the Galaxy Rangers had a core of dedicated fans who appreciated its complex plots and layered characters. The show stood out in a sea of lighthearted fare, offering a breath of fresh air for those who craved a little more substance in their animated adventures. For those lucky enough to catch it, The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers was a wild ride through a lawless universe, a space western that dared to go deep where others barely scratched the surface. Number 3. JC and the Wield Warriors, 1985. The golden age of toy-based cartoons. When epic battles weren't just played out on the TV, they continued in your living room with action figures and vehicles. JC and the Wield Warriors was a prime example, with its transforming vehicles and larger-than-life conflict between good and evil. If you loved watching epic sci-fi battles, this show was pure adrenaline for your Saturday mornings. JC and his allies faced off against the sinister Monster Minds, a villainous faction whose vehicles could morph and combine into terrifying forms. The stakes were high, the battles were intense, and the futuristic worlds they zipped through were nothing short of imaginative. You'd see these incredible machines in action and then dream of recreating the action sequences with your own toys. It was a sci-fi geek's dream. But while JC and the Wield Warriors was crafted to sell toys, let's be honest, most 80s cartoons were, it didn't slack off when it came to storytelling. The creators poured real effort into world building and character development. JC's quest to reunite with his father and defeat the Monster Minds wasn't just a backdrop, it was the heartbeat of the show. Unfortunately, like many shows of its kind, it never got to wrap up its story, leaving fans hanging without a satisfying conclusion. Still, the wild, inventive world of JC and the Wield Warriors left a lasting impact, even if we never saw the final showdown. For fans, it remains a reminder that sometimes the journey, full of high-octane battles and imaginative landscapes, is just as thrilling as the destination. Number 2. M.A.S.K, 1985 to 1986. Mobile Armored Strike Command. Because when you're in the 80s, spelling is secondary to pure, unadulterated action. M.A.S.K was the perfect fusion of G.I. Joe's high-stakes missions and Transformers' transforming vehicles, creating a whole new level of awesomeness for kids everywhere. If you were a fan of gadgets, explosions, and plot lines that seemed plucked from every childhood daydream, this show was the holy grail. At the heart of M.A.S.K was Matt Tracker, the suave leader of a team of heroes who piloted vehicles with the power to transform into combat machines. And these weren't just ordinary vehicles. Trucks turned into missile launchers, motorcycles morphed into helicopters, and cars sprouted wings. Every episode was a high-speed, high-tech adventure, with Tracker and his team battling the evil forces of Venom, a villainous group intent on world domination because what else would they want, right? What made M.A.S.K stand out wasn't just the crazy transformations. It was the sheer variety of action scenes. The show felt like a never-ending playground of possibilities. Each vehicle had its own unique arsenal of gadgets and weapons, keeping the action fresh and unpredictable. Whether it was a high-speed chase, an aerial dogfight, or an all-out ground assault, M.A.S.K delivered thrills that kept us glued to our screens, eyes wide with wonder. Although it only ran for 2 seasons, M.A.S.K left an undeniable mark. The endless gadgets, creative vehicle transformations, and action-packed sequences made it a must-watch for any kid looking for adventure. Even today, fans fondly remember the heart-pounding excitement and the catchy theme song that promised, "M.A.S.K Crusaders, working overtime, fighting crime." Number 1. Spiral Zone, 1987. If you thought cartoons were all about lighthearted fun and goofy characters, Spiral Zone was here to flip that script hard. Set in a dystopian future that felt straight out of a nightmare, this darker, more serious show dove headfirst into themes of fear, mind control, and societal collapse. Unlike the colorful and upbeat cartoons of the 80s, Spiral Zone was gritty, atmospheric, and not afraid to make you think twice about the world's fate. At the center of the chaos was Dr. James Bent, aka Overlord, a villain whose very name sends chills down your spine. With an army of mind-controlled zone troopers at his command, he had taken control of massive swaths of Earth, turning them into the ominous spiral zones. These dark, desolate regions were filled with eerie landscapes, brainwashed soldiers, and an overwhelming sense of hopelessness. It was up to the Zone Riders, a brave group of heroes, to take on this nearly invincible force and reclaim the planet. What set Spiral Zone apart was its willingness to dive into heavy topics. It wasn't just about flashy action or high-tech gadgets, though those were in there too. This show tackled real issues like loss, oppression, and psychological control, making it feel more like a dark sci-fi novel than your typical Saturday morning fare. The tone was intense, and the stakes felt higher than in most other shows. Kids were treated to a storyline that was as cerebral as it was thrilling. While Spiral Zone didn't reach blockbuster status, its moody storytelling and dystopian setting left a lasting impact on those who watched it. And there you have it, 10 forgotten cartoons from the 80s that shaped our childhood in ways we might not even realize. These shows, while not always in the spotlight, brought unique characters, imaginative stories, and plenty of laughs to our Saturday mornings. Which of these cartoons do you remember watching? Did we spark a memory of a long-lost favorite? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more nostalgic content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep those childhood memories alive.